Alright, so as we all know, our topic this unit was about how we have big, diverse range of students in our class and how can we best accommodate that and how can we best eliminate the gap between the achievements of some of these students in minority groups and these students in more predominant groups. So I'm going to be going over some of the multicultural education approaches by James A. Banker, and then I'm going to talk about the case study that I looked into. So the first approach, there are four of them, is the contributions approach. So this celebrates specific moments as they come up in the academic year. For example, Black History Month or LGBTQ plus supportive month. And we can use that to really accept and understand the history behind a lot of these groups. Next, we have the additive approach. So this is when teachers add units of study. They aren't necessarily changing curriculum, but they're just adding little bits. So the example that our textbook uses here is the role of African American soldiers during World Wars. Something to add on to that, we could also use the example of how women contributed to some of these wars and how women really helped out there. Next, we have the transformation approach. So this is the one that really requires a change in curriculum. So this is looking, instead of looking at, this is specifically related to history more than any other topic, but changing curriculum to improve and show and incorporate all the different perspectives that were shown, especially in history and in wars. So again, the example that this textbook uses is the Mexican-American War. So we might look at not just the American side, but also the Mexican side on that. And lastly, we have the social action and awareness. So this is when educators take a social action approach and seek to bring about specific long-term change, not just to the school environment, but to the greater society. So this is really enabling students not only to know about all these different things and to know about systemic racism and so on, but to really help them find ways to have action and to address these issues. All right, so next we have the case study I chose to analyze is the one surrounding Ed Marquez. He's most closely aligned with the social action and awareness approach to multicultural education, since his main goal was to help students understand topics such as individual and systemic racism and how they really impact communities and their own communities of the students. He especially aligned with the social action part of this approach, since he and his wife worked together to create programs that would support a diverse range of students in math and other subjects as well. I believe that Marquez chose this approach because he wanted to really take the extra step. Not only did he want to provide his students with knowledge of these issues, he wanted to go the extra mile and become a positive influence on them and really show his students how change can be brought about by everyday people. I do hope to be one of these everyday people, especially as a teacher with access to so many students and such a diverse range of students. And I plan to do this by providing the same amount of support despite any disagreements a teacher has or may not have with students and their decision. I believe that your main belief should be in seeing your students and supporting them as people, that no matter how others tend to view them, you should always be a constant in their lives, supporting them no matter what and despite any personal opinions or worldviews. And again, your chief concern should be supporting your students individually and as people, and in any way that that is possible, any way that you have access to them or even access to their lives at home. We know that teachers aren't always just in the classroom, so any way that I can do this and help all of my students feel included, and also I plan on being a literature teacher, so also to anything that I can show that's more diverse ranges of literature. For example, if I'm teaching an American literature class, to also teach about, all right, so what literature do we have with Native Americans? What oral traditions have been written down that we could really talk about? That's a big one. And just include things like that into my classroom. Thank you.